Hey, everybody. Welcome to Murder Moose. What are you laughing about, Josh?
I just farted in my mic.
I mean, everything coming out of your mouth is a fart. A fart, 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 fart. I'm Rod.
At least it's not a dick, like in your mouth.
Oh, Josh, I love you, and I'm sorry I'm a wiener sometimes. I'm Rod.
Hey,
Josh
I have
is
a
Josh.
samurai sword ready to chop your dick off. Don't worry.
I know Josh is gonna chop my dick off, as he's been like obsessed with cutting dicks off since Dur Samurai.
Like those are two things that are probably going to be brought up every show from now on. Psycho Gorman and now Samurai chopping dicks off.
Yeah. I decided, and this I screwed up not communicating with Josh, and so this is my fault. But no, werewolf movies. Done one other werewolf movie, and I was like, I gotta get Bryan to come on and talk about a new werewolf movie because him and I talked about The Howling, and it had the worst CGI ever. So we brought back Bryan from Dead in Santa Carla.
Yo! Hey, nice to finally actually full on meet you and not just
yeah.
the slidey thing.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm happy to be back. Had a good time. I always have a good time when I talk to Rod, for sure. And we had you on. You came on and talked Deadly Games with us.
Right? Yes.
Yeah. Yep.
I was pretty sure. I was like, yeah,
you guys.
We had
Yeah.
both you guys.
Yeah, we that was the show that you guys came. No, you guys came on here and talked.
Yeah, we
It
came
was
on
a-
your guys. Yeah.
And Andy was. I harassed him.
Obsessed with Star Trek.
I harassed him so bad about that because he tweeted out or discorded out the other day about how he doesn't smoke pot before he records his podcast. I was like, yeah, you just smoke pot before you record my podcast and won't shut up about
And
Star
I
Trek
just
for an
forgot
hour.
about everything.
It was like Star Trek, Star Trek, Star Trek. I'm like, God damn it, Andy. God damn it. God damn it. Ugh.
Good times. Good
Yeah.
times.
Yeah, and so we're doing something like, what are you saying, Josh?
I haven't watched Star Trek in a long time.
Same.
I
I hear they got a new show, don't they? Picard, isn't that what it's called?
Right. Yeah.
I think
on-
it's a CBS All Access, which is now a Paramount Plus thing.
I don't know. I can't keep up anymore because, like, I cut the cable, but now everyone has, and cable companies know that. So now everyone has their own apps, and everyone's trying to do their own shows. And I'm like,
Yeah.
wait, but there's too much now. And how do I stay? So we
Yeah.
just talk about fucking horror movies now from the 60s and 70s and whenever.
Yeah, we were before you got on the call, Josh. We were sitting there talking about how many fucking like streaming services we have, and Brian's like, I have this and this, and then we're getting Hulu, and I'm like, yeah, and cutting cable. It's just all a shenanigans.
It's more expensive now, to be honest. Like, if you
Yeah.
looked at what we were paying with cable and now just the sheer amount, because they're all just coming off PayPal and this and that, I don't realize it. And then we're Twitch streamers, so we're subscribed to all our friends on Twitch and blah 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 and this and that. And then I did the math one month and was like, oh fuck, and then I had to like unsubscribe to a whole bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
It can be
Great.
very devastating to your soul, but it happens over such a long period of time that you don't realize can't pay the mortgage this month.
It's
Had to watch fucking Flash reruns, so now I can't pay the fucking mortgage. That's fantastic.
Oh my god.
it's the death by 1,000 paper cuts, man.
Yep.
We're lobsters. And the water's being turned up, like slowly being heated up instead of quickly being heated up. And they know it, man. Instead of like that one chunk now, it's just, you just keep getting billed for different things, right? So,
Yep.
So what do you guys, I was talking to Bryan, there's a lot of shit going on right now with movies coming out. What have you guys been watching?
Oh my god. We're in like a heyday of horror right now, and I'm fucking loving it. Like every week, there's something else coming out, and especially what Netflix is doing now.
Oh,
They're all in with horror. They got the 3-week thing with Fear Street, which has been fucking so fun. And
I've
like,
really
right up
enjoyed
my
the
alley.
first two. Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, I've really enjoyed the first two of those a lot. A whole lot, actually.
Yeah, it's good because we're seeing more slashers than like it's been a while. Slashers are on and off, right? We all know that because we got these Fear Street movies coming out. We have then Michael Myers Halloween Revenge comes out in October. We got a new
but
Scream.
that trailer though, I feel like I've already seen the fucking movie. Like, why do you got to show 30 deaths in a trailer? It's like
that just tells me there's 100 and that just tells me there's 150 in the movie.
And if there isn't, I'm gonna be pissed, man. Because if I saw more than half the deaths in the trailer, that's like, fuck, what the hell?
I talked about it before, I think, but like now that Michael Myers has decided he's gonna be a deathmatch wrestler and is like killing people with like the light tubes and shit like that, I've been watching crazy deathmatch wrestling recently, and I'm like, why is light tubes?
Mick Foley?
Not even that. Mick Foley, dude. Mick Foley back in the day, one of the funniest shit ever was back in the day. Like when I was like in middle school, I really liked the Insane Clown Posse because I'm a weirdo. And like in middle school,
The Great Malenko is a fucking badass album. I don't care what anybody says. But
ICP, man.
They did this thing where they took a Mick Foley versus Terry Funk death match from Japan, and they commented over it and put it out on VHS. And that match was fucking insane, and they called him Drunk Terry Funk, and it was Cactus Jack. If you know anything about wrestling, they called him Cactus Sack, and they're just like just doing like insane like clown posse references the whole time, and it made me laugh. But that's
Cactus
just like
Jack. But that was my heyday of wrestling. Like my wife's uncle is still the honky tonk man. So like Yeah,
that's awesome. That's super awesome.
Yeah,
like that was my heyday of wrestling, was when he was in there and stuff. And I like to grow up and be like a fan of his, and then meet him, and then be completely disappointed meeting.
I mean, let's be fair. He was Elvis as a wrestler, right? I mean, that's basically the honky tonk man's like your whole 100%. Like gimmick. And you're like, as a kid, you're like, that's a pretty cool thing. And then like you're like, you meet the guy, and you're like, but you're not Elvis. And I'd rather have Bruce Campbell being Elvis, and but yeah.
Oh, and Bubba Hotep.
Yeah.
Don't meet your idols, man. Don't have them be in your family either.
So you guys both dug Fear Street 78.
Yeah.
Then?
Yeah, I actually I kind of enjoyed 78 a little more than 94, but that's probably just because I'm a fan of summer camp slashers.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's... Yeah, exactly. You know, Josh is wearing a dope-ass Friday 13th t-shirt right now.
Yeah.
There's so many homages to it, and I fucking loved it. Each time they're getting the music right. I wonder what they're going to do for 1666,
yeah.
So they can't, like, pull from...
They're just gonna put a bunch of the Carpenters on there or some shit.
No, it's gonna be Hai Lung. If they don't play Hai Lung for the entire thing, I'm gonna be disappointed.
They had stuff nostalgic to pull from for both genre movies. Like 94, they were all in with Nirvana and like other cool. Like I was like, fuck, I grew up with all these tunes, so I was really into it, and I liked that Josh character, and thought he was gonna like be triumphant at the end with the girl, but she got fucking bread sliced, and that was
what
so
a cool
awesome.
Kill. What a cool fucking kill, man.
I still think that I honestly think that kill is going to be talked about in 20 years, like Jason X is talked about now. Like I think that's
face
like
smash.
Yeah, the face smash. It's like that kill is that fucking bonkers. And I was talking about it with someone on Twitter, and they're like, yeah, the art department told them what they were going to do or something, and they're like, oh, that's not going to work. And then it worked, and they were all like, because that scene was fucking metal, as Josh and I have said many a times in the show, and it was,
I just love how they are, I don't know what they're doing. Like, they're not cutting away. Like, the first one, the shock kill, is the one where they're actually showing the gore, and they don't cut away. It's usually like the hard cut to the gag, and they're doing the wide as the reveal to the gore shot, and it's so good. Like they did it again in 78 with the axe to the face, and then showed it going 2 more times. I was like, whoa! They have like jaw dropping moments in the you know, I don't see that in movies very often.
Except, I mean, we're not going to spoil it. We're just talking over it. That they went nope with the kids, though, man. You get little kids. They start axing. Yeah, they start axing little kids in this movie, and they thankfully cut away from it because it was they didn't show that, and they're like, yeah, you guys would have gone.
You have to have class with that shit, man. Yeah,
and which is sweet because it was like they were like killing like 15, 16-year-olds, and that was fine, but there was like you had like 8-year-olds getting fucking 10-year-olds getting chopped up off screen. Thank God. And it's like, I mean, thank God that they didn't show it. But yeah, it's
thank God.
Thank God they killed those fucking irritating kids, man.
Those little fuckers wouldn't shut up. They played like hopscotch and shit. And I was like, I'm gonna murder you with an axe. And then this movie did it, and just I'm all set. I was telling Josh and then I was telling Bryan like before we were recording. I watched some more crazy shit on Shudder. I watched Vicious Fun and Vicious.
I want to do that on the show, man. So I'm excited to fucking check that out.
Yeah, dude, that movie is so Canadian because like at the end they're driving away with Ontario license plates and shit. I'm like, oh my God.
But those are my boys, man. Those are my boys from Black Fawn. So I'm excited.
Oh, is that what that is?
That's a Black Fawn film. Yeah, that's
dude,
why I was telling you about it.
Yeah, that dude is. There's a guy channeling fucking the dude from American Psycho, which is funny because
Patrick Bateman.
Yeah, Patrick Bateman. Because Bryan and I were just talking about the new Einstein's Kill song that came out called "Hip to Be Scared," which is American.
Nice.
Did you hear that yet, Josh? I gotta send you that, dude. It is.
Send it to me.
It's dope, man.
I live in a box, which is this basement.
You live in this box.
Got a nice drum set there, though.
Thanks.
I mean, Josh, like when he was streaming all the time, like he would do drum breaks in the middle of his streams and stuff like that.
When there was like a loading screen, I would just put on a track and then switch to the other camera and drum along to something.
Oh, nice. Yeah, that's pretty awesome.
I was also saying I watched Frankenhooker for the first time and kind of fell asleep during it. But that movie was terrible but funny. And also never watched the movie Pledge Night, which is on Shudder now, because that shit was fucking garbage. It was literally one of the worst slasher movies I've ever seen. But like, there were some nice boobs in it, I guess. I mean, we have that going. Anything else?
I like boobs. Who doesn't like fucking boobs, man? If you say, like we say, if you say you don't like boobs, you're just lying.
Yep.
Stop lying.
I mean, it was better than the boobs in Frankenhooker that have like blue nipples because they're
dead.
They're all dead. Yeah. That's one of those things you're like.
Oh, what was that one? Zombie strippers or whatever. Did you ever see that one? And the ping pong ball with.
I think I saw that back in the day because it was like.
Wasn't it Jenna Jameson?
Yeah.
Yeah. That was back when she was like before it had been completely revealed that she was insane and that like Tito Ortiz was the sane one in that relationship, and you go, what? And if you don't know who Tito Ortiz is, he was an old UFC fighter, and
didn't he like beat her up and stuff too?
But I don't know, man. That shit is all weird, and that shit is all weird, and it's you don't never know. Like look at that whole Johnny Depp like Amber Heard thing, and she's like they basically like she admitted to like lying about everything and all that shit or whatever happened, and like I don't know, all that shit's crazy, man. All that shit's crazy.
How does she still? I don't understand how she hasn't been canceled if she admitted to all that stuff. Like I don't get that stuff, you know.
Dude, there's something like if you're a man, like especially a white male in like Hollywood or whatever, like if you do anything stupid, they're like fuck you. But like I think that like it seems like there's leniency in other ways, which is I mean, like white dudes have gotten away with everything for like how long? So
it's like Chris Brown I just heard he beat someone else up. Like what the fuck? Like full on cancel attack. Chris Brown, he should not have a name in this world anymore.
Yeah,
but he still does.
Well, you think about it,
but Amber Heard Gone Girl'd. She pulled a Gone Girl, and now she's still like full on pulled a Gone Girl, and admitted to it, and she still has a fucking career after that. That makes no sense to me, man.
She's in the second Aquaman movie, which they're shooting right now, which is just also insane. But like
she did admit to this. That's so crazy.
I don't know if she admitted to it, but like I think it came. I don't fucking dude. I don't
fuck Johnny Depp. Anyways, he's
dude. He was in that horrible fucking Tusk movie and in yoga hosers. So like I will never. I mean,
well, their daughters are friends, and their daughters are
Yeah.
in those movies, and
Yeah.
I wonder how close like Kevin Smith and Johnny Depp are. Like obviously they got to be close enough if they're.
yeah.
Johnny Depp's like, yeah, sure, I'll fucking come in.
Yeah, I'll play in your movie for $86 and a fucking
Yeah, I'll
bottle of
sling
whiskey.
it in a Kevin Smith movie for free. Like,
Yeah.
Dude, that just reminded me. I saw a story on Twitter today, and it just made me laugh because of the what you're talking about. What's his name? Fucking Matt Damon got offered 10% of the profit of Avatar to be in it, and he turned.
And he said
it down.
no. Yeah.
And
no. Yeah.
they were like
I read about that. Yeah.
$150 million that he basically turned down.
Yeah. Yeah.
Look at
Yeah. I heard about that.
Josh is like shitting his pants over there, and
Yeah.
well, it's not the highest grossing anymore, but
That's
still
still
the
that's still a
still the
shitload of
second-
money.
it went 150
Yeah.
million, and then there's how many sequels that are like? What is he planning
Yeah,
on?
there's
17.
like 5 more coming out. Supposed
it's
to be,
because
yeah.
he James Cameron doesn't make movies. He makes huge business decisions that impact the like choices that either filmmakers are going to make for the next 10 years or studios are going to profit off in a different way. Like he's not making a movie. He's making a tent pole for like billions of dollars in revenue for different areas. And this is like, he knows he's not going to be able to find the new 3D technology. So he helped make the Fox deal happen because he was tied to the Fox deal. So he knew it was going to be in Disney, and that's why Avatar was in Disney World before it was even a fucking thing. Like he was the reason all this fucking happened. Like so,
what does Andy call James?
I don't know what he calls James, but I call him an asshole.
I know, but what's his full? Like he calls him by his legal name or whatever all the time.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah,
Jimmy Cams.
I don't know. He calls it. You guys talked about aliens, and he was talking about James funny, and I'm like, oh man.
He bet like he's all the fuck in on Avatar. Like,
Oh, yeah, yeah,
talk
that's
about
gonna
putting
be
all
his
your eggs in one basket. Like,
Yeah,
these gonna be fucking good movies. Like they, who knows?
I think that a lot of people really like the first one. I'm one of them. I give it a hard time because it's basically Fern Gully. But,
it is.
Yeah,
Like,
it's
it
a lot
better be
of
a good
evidence.
movie because he's got such a track record. Like, what is he? I don't get it myself. Like, that's a fucking crazy move to make as like just a creative to like block yourself and only. But like I said, he's making big business moves. So
What was the last bad sequel James Cameron made? I think is you have to think about it.
yeah,
Like,
but he's never made 5 other movies in the same.
True.
Like
It's very
that's
true.
Crazy.
He only made 2 Terminator movies, and now he's getting. I think it's gonna be a total of 6 Avatar films after it's all said and done. I think
There's
so.
a lot of them.
I remember
Yeah,
reading that.
I don't even know, and like I don't like it's such a like it's
I
kind
don't
of like
understand the cultural phenomenon that happened though. It made no sense, but I feel it's been too long, man. Like, sorry, I'm cutting
I
you
kind of tend to agree. I mean, because
No.
Avatar came out in what 1948.
yeah,
1936.
Yeah,
It was like
so
it was as like
2009. 2009. That's a 12-year-old movie.
yeah.
2009.
I mean,
and the sequels don't even have a release date yet. They still don't.
Think about it.
So I mean,
Think about it. This is how insanely long ago this happened. The entire 3D movie craze had stopped 5 or 6 years ago at least. They don't make 3D TVs anymore. They don't make any of this shit.
I'm
because
so glad.
I had a 3D TV. I had all this shit. And it was always like, I used it for how long and did it ever matter? And it's like all that shit. You're like, because none of it, like, it's a complete trend. And it's like, yeah. So like
It hurt my eyes, man, going to the theater, and it was blocking out some of the natural light that, like, it made it harder to film natural shit because you're blocking out like 10% of the actual light that's coming through. So like a lot of movies want to do like the Tenant thing where they're not even lighting the scenes and they want it to be more realistic and like not overly light the movies and let the like dynamic range do the talking and everything. 3D doesn't allow that.
I know how you talked about Snyder and his close focus shots for things that are 3 miles away the entire movie. So it's like you go, what are these trends and whatnot? So yeah,
I don't
actually have. I just pulled up release dates for Avatar because we're so interested.
Yep.
The part 2 comes out December 16th of 22. Then 2 years later, the next one. Then 2 years after that, the next one. Then 2 years after that, the last one. So there's 4 sequels. So there's going to be 5 Avatar movies.
Why are they 2 years apart? Like with the timing and everything,
don't
that's
know.
what's insane. Like if you're going to do this and you're going to wait all this time, why don't you put them out a year apart?
They're filming it. Well, it's because it's part of Disney's thing now.
Oh,
so they don't just have Avatar as their
he's
big
not
thing.
filming
They
them
got
all
Star
together.
Wars. They got Marvel.
Right.
They
Yeah,
got,
exactly.
and
Because
they're putting it in as another tent pole into their system. So
Yeah,
they
absolutely.
can't put it all. Yeah.
Yeah. So on an off year, when you don't get an Avatar movie, you get a big Star Wars film or a
No,
big
you mean
Marvel
when
movie or something.
all the off years you get an Avatar.
You
movie.
get an Avatar film. Yeah.
Well, think about it though. Like I don't know. It's just funny because like Disney has shot themselves in the dick a couple times, right? Like the Star Wars is like a thing where you go, their movies, how they shot themselves in the dick. So they have to be a little careful about how this happens. And obviously, it's not going to have the issues that Star Wars had because they don't have 17 different creative minds working in on the process. And I think
Very true.
That means
Yeah, but
a
when
lot.
you take a movie away from someone and then get someone on your roster to just be like, you've been really good, so now you fix this mess. And like, I see through that fucking shit. Like, I felt like 3 movies. It was like, that's the one director's direction for the movie. Here's where it was cleaned up, and here's where the studio came in and said, no. You got to do more of this and this and that. And I see right through all that bullshit. And I say this a lot on the show. Let filmmakers be filmmakers.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's very very rarely that you go, okay, this is better off being hugely cut. I mean, I know Bryan, you and Andy talked about like Event Horizon. We go back to Event Horizon and like
It's so good.
Yeah, but how badly the studio fucked that movie, like taking out like 90 minutes or like 60 whatever minutes.
It was definitely and it was all important exposition that they cut out too. So they didn't care about the story making sense. They just wanted to get a movie out that was I don't know. It's really interesting when you see companies go through with because that wasn't a small investment for them. Yeah. That was a lot of money. They dumped a lot of money into Event Horizon, and for them to not care, it felt like they just didn't care about their investment.
Which is still weird. It's still weird to me hearing that much money dumped into a horror movie. Like
when you really think about it, it's kind of surprising that they even dumped that much money into it. Because essentially it's Hellraiser meets Alien.
Yep.
And
horror in space is something that isn't done enough, I think.
I agree. I tend to agree. And when it's done, a lot of times it's pretty bad. Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know.
When did that come out? Because I remember I was young
Event Horizon?
when it came out.
I want to say 97.
96 or 97, yeah.
I remember it scaring me, and then I went back and rewatched it just to be like, fuck, I remember this being like really fucking metal, and it doesn't hold the test of time because of the special effect. Like the hell scenes hold up because they're all practical special effects, but all the like space stuff and the explosions, it's so bad and so like
not good.
Late 90s CGI.
97 is when that came out.
Yeah. It just reminds me, have you guys watched, did you ever watch High Life, the Robert Pattinson movie where they like sent
I've seen it once,
convicts into space, which is it's A24 and like, horror elements, and that's just like this kind of stuff. That movie's fucking weird and had like a fucked up ending, and
that's one that I have and have not watched. Fuck.
It's worth watching because it's another one of those things.
3000's in it.
Yeah.
Cool.
It's been a long time since I've seen that, but I remember enjoying it.
Yeah, it's weird though.
I've only seen it once.
Yeah, it's one of those movies
A24.
where A24 movies, like regardless of like how much you like the story, like all their movies are shot very, very well.
Aesthetically, A24 has got this like I don't know, like a milky thing that they do to their movies that just always looks fucking phenomenal to me.
Yeah. And speaking of cool independent things, let's talk about a movie that we're going to talk about today.
Let's talk about the movie we're going to talk about. Yeah.
Yep. Let's talk about
What?
redundant sentences from Rod 101. How many ways can Rod repeat himself in one sentence? Woo! Okay. Yes. So we were talking about 2021's Werewolves Within. We're going to do like kind of the thing we do, Brian. We'll like talk about it without spoiling it because
That's
it's so brand new, and
Yeah,
then just
yeah.
like spoil it the shit out
I
of
got
it
you.
afterwards. But Josh, you want to read the synopsis of this?
Werewolves Within. Feature adaptation of the video game where werewolves attack a small town. That's it. That's all it says.
Yeah. That's what I was confused about. This movie starts off, the first thing in this movie is an Ubisoft logo.
Yeah, that's what I saw too. I was like, wait a second. I didn't know this was an adaptation whatsoever.
Yeah.
Until I read that line.
That game must be coming out in, I don't know when. But
That game's already out.
is it?
Yeah, that game came out in 2016.
What?
Yeah.
I've never even heard of it.
Yeah. Yeah, it came out in 2016. It's on PS4 and PC.
Man.
No, I don't have it, and I've never played it. That's all I know about it. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
A whole reason I picked this movie this week was because Sam Richardson's in it, and I just love his brand of comedy. He, like in the Tomorrow War, he brought it, like they let him turn it up. I think when you're going against Chris Pratt and he has that background as well, like it just turns it up to 11 in that movie. I feel like he was funnier in the Tomorrow War than he was in this because he had to be a little more serious and like reserved in this movie. But this movie has a bunch of very likable characters and just like a small knit town that I felt like the writers did a good job of giving each character a good, like, I don't know, like personalities and stuff.
Yeah.
Like they all shined through, and I felt like the casting was perfect for a lot of the different characters in this. Like the girl with the dog that was eating and stuff, she was fucking so good.
Yeah. There was a lot, man, where they have all these really like character actors, and Brian pointed out, and I didn't realize this until we started. The one character is the AT&T girl, and you're sitting there going, and it's funny because
where do I know her from? I know her from something. The entire movie.
She's that woman when she started doing those commercials. Everyone got thirsty over her, and like even though she was in that AT&T outfit, and it's funny. She's gorgeous in this movie, and she's
really
like
good
in parkas and. Like what do you call them? Like a post office costume for most of the movie, and you go, "Damn, she's still pretty." She's just got that classically like just pretty face, and so it helps at like everything. Man, I was saying while I was watching this, I wish I was kind of hope that it made me. I don't know if like I laughed as much as I thought it was going to, because it is billed as a comedy horror. Like, you know, it's like comedy is probably first, and then the horror elements are, it's like drama horror kind of things where
it's more whodunit than anything else. Really.
Yeah, very like Knives Out-y kind of like.
It's like Knives Out meets The Howling.
Just without awful CGI.
Right.
I kind of like how they really toned down the werewolf like attacks and stuff and made it more just like the in-camera pull away type vibe, and like for the most part of the movie.
I feel like that was probably a budget thing, and then how the story was written to.
But I love that.
Like
they did those scenes really well. Like the opening scene where that guy gets killed, it's more about the reaction to what's happening and how violent it is, and hit the person's reaction to it, rather than showing the gore. And it shows the sound effects were good, and you know, it is an indie movie, so if you can get away with it, do it well, and then people don't worry too much.
I do hope, man, like you said it, Sam Richardson is he's awesome in this movie, and like the cast is probably the best thing. Like I was saying I think that
A plus cast. A plus cast.
I think my
Agreed. Yeah.
biggest issue with this movie might be that they tried to do too many twists at the end of the movie, and we'll go.
Yeah.
I'm not spoiling it. Like they might have thrown like one too. Like it's like when something's working well. Oh, well, let's do that again, and they might have done it like one too many times. But like that didn't hamper my enjoyment for like 130, like an hour and a half movie that packs a lot.
Perfect
in.
length. Because it's peppered with comedy, and it's not, I don't know, like it felt like a nice cocktail. But then when I looked after the movie and saw that it had like an 85%, I was like, that's accurate. That's definitely an accurate like score for this. Like it's not 100%, but I fucking enjoyed it. And there's definitely things that I feel it could have done better. Maybe if it had budget stuff. But to be honest, there's like once we get more into the end and spoilery stuff, I'll bring up a few things that I liked for sure.
Dude, I still think maybe my favorite character in this whole movie was the little Harvey Gillian, I think his name is as Joaquin.
Oh, Joaquin, yeah. Joaquin's funny.
He plays the like he's kind of like the there's like a gay couple that lives in this town, and they kind of joke about him being like tech millionaires or something like that.
Yeah.
And they're
Are
like,
we millionaires? So pretentious about it. It's funny,
I feel like that character made me laugh more than most of the characters in the movie, and it was just like, and it wasn't stereotypical gay shit. It was just the character was fucking funny and like had some of the best lines in the movie. His husband was like the kind of more straight edge version, like the more like you know the relief to him being funny, and he plays that in a lot though. Like he played that almost exact character in American Horror Story a whole bunch of different seasons as well. So he plays that all. It's his jawline. He has to play that character. Oh, the guy, his husband. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Cheyenne Jackson.
Dude, that guy has the jaw that never ends. It is like
seriously.
He's got like you put him in like the profile or like view, and it's just like jaw, and it's like damn, man.
He could play Batman. Yeah, with that jaw alone. Yeah. Put a cowl on him.
Dude, he's good looking dude too. It's funny because he's like tall and like muscular, and his husband's this short, dumpy Hispanic guy who's like it's just like funny, but like you like meet them and they're doing that like yoga shit, and it's just like, why would they have a yoga studio? Like it just, you sit there because the movie takes place in Vermont, right? And you go, I just feel like after meeting all these characters, no one would use this yoga studio besides these two, right? You know,
but that's what like that's what the writing did well. I feel like the Beaverton like small town weirdness, and like when she's going around, it's like, you want some hot goss? Like, what are you talking about? And she's like the gossip queen of the, just like catching us as an audience up, but in like a really fun, off the cuff way. And it flowed really well, and like it gave us like good backstory and good insight into the rest of the characters in this little town, and her like delivering the mail to everyone in their little like, where the fuck's my packages? Like, what the hell? Getting mad at her and stuff.
Well, it's always good because like with exposition dumps, if you just sit there and explain storylines and stuff like that, like you don't, it's lazy writing, and they figured out a better way to do it in like this, like, you know, gossip like you're talking about, and instead of just like dumping exposition by a character, right? So, and meeting the town badass who's like up in his own like fortress with like all his dead wolves that he's killed and stuff and all that stuff. He was rad. He's the
you're talking about Emerson Flint. The reclusive hillbilly.
Dude, his character
pretty good.
I kind of would have wished like he was in it a little more, but I think they did a good job of because he's supposed to be, if you've ever watched a horror movie and you go, or even any movie, and the crazy dude who's going to shoot people who goes on their property, it's very much that character, but like you combine him with like Bear or Grizzly Adams or something like that, dude. This motherfucker is like, he seems like he's a big motherfucker, and he's like hairy as shit, and just like looks like he like goes out and kills a bear for lunch and then like eats its intestines raw kind of thing. Like that's what kind of motherfucker this dude is. Yeah,
they got I don't know, like the character almost like cliches of people. Like I felt like that's why the cast was so good, because
I agree.
Like with Sam, like he's played that kind of like shy, whatever, like not so manly type guy before, so it was almost like the typecast for Sam Richardson, but he plays it so well. And then introducing like other characters in like a fun comedic way, like when the doctor was revealed behind him and stuff.
Yeah, everybody had all their really quirky little idiosyncrasies that came through really well, and it made the and you're right, it made the cast and the characters work together really well, especially when we got into the middle of the movie and they're all shacked up.
Yeah.
And everybody's falling apart. Like everybody's just starting, they're all like teetering on the edge of sanity.
When it starts to unravel and we get the story, like that whole scene really let everyone kind of
it was really funny.
The who's got a gun? And like 3
so American.
The only one that didn't raise their hand was Sam. Fucking Finn.
Sam Richardson plays a park ranger. Like park rangers don't have weapons, and
he had bear spray.
Bearman.
That's it. I love it. How are you gonna defend yourself? I got my trusty bear spray.
It reminds me of the South Park where Cartman is the cop. And he's running around on his like tricycle, and he's like, "Respect my authority," and he's bear spraying people in the eyes, like with the bear mace. And it's like, it's funny, man, because like they have like everyone in this movie is a good looking actor, right? And they made a couple of them look like fucking complete meth heads, and still like like it kind of reminds me of it, actually. And I haven't seen I've seen this movie years and years ago, but like it reminds me kind of like that. Kind of like Best in Show kind of thing, where you have all these really, really unique characters in this, where they give you that variety in this tiny bumfuck Vermont town that like probably has 100 people that live in it. Like there's like no one that lives in this town, and so they do a good job of having that variety of of just not the same person, like 7 different. It's not like,
what is that line the meth head girl says? The road is storm fucked.
Yeah, storm fucked. Yep.
It's a perfect describer of what the fuck happened too.
Yeah,
in 2 words, I was like, that is actually the best.
Yeah,
way you
I thought the same thing when you said that. I was like, what the fuck? And then when Finn looks through his binoculars, I was like, yeah, that's perfect. Nailed it.
Avalanche, and the power lines are down, and the road is fucking covered. Yeah, you're storm fucked.
You're storm fucked.
Dude, it had to have been snowing when they shot this movie. Either that or they put CGI.
The snow looked
it looks
great.
Very real.
Yeah.
Like
and
that
I'm like,
opening bit when he's delivering the mail and going up to that one, like that had to be real, because that looked fucking amazing on film.
Yeah. And that's one of those things, man. And another thing I bet they could have done, but like again, probably budget things. We've talked about it before. Blood on snow always looks so good because it just makes the blood pop. It's why, I mean, Bryan knows this, why they wanted to do that the Jason in the snow movie is so bad. After that's one of those things that one of the ideas of the many ideas that they've set up for Jason movies over the last 20 years. That it was one
30.
of those. Yeah. Well, I mean, you're looking at what the reboot was, 2008, and then
2009. Yeah.
Are they doing another one?
No.
It's still in court with.
I don't think.
It's owned by someone else, right? They gotta wait it out.
Yeah, they're duking it out for the rights.
I fucking hate when that shit happens, because it's a property that we could like to see another one, whatever, but they're either going to just put it out so they can retain the rights, because that's how those stupid things work, or just not, and then not give it up because it's theirs. It's mine.
Sean Cunningham is a giant cunt, and is all we.
He's him and Victor Miller are basically arguing over pennies when they could be making millions.
Yeah.
So
And it's-
but, I mean, but to be fair, Victor Miller is very much more the victim in the situation than Sean
Yeah.
Cunningham is. Cause,
Yeah.
Fucking hate that shit.
yeah.
Yeah.
But
That last Friday the 13th was dope too, by the way. I loved that.
you
remake.
like the reboot? Yeah.
Yeah, man.
There's things I really liked about it. I loved the first 15 minutes very much.
Like-
I mean,
Yeah.
I think the first 15 minutes are some of the best 15 minutes in the entire franchise.
Yep,
Yeah.
because it
It's-
took all the best kills and smashed you in the face with it within 15 minutes.
Yeah.
I actually yelled and clapped when I saw it in theaters. Like, I always love, like, I'm a hugest fan of when they do shit like that, but then the title card comes up and it's just like, boom, takes up the whole screen. I was just like, yeah! Fuck!
Yeah.
This is too
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, dude, it's funny, man, because now we talk about it, but like we have Texas Chainsaw making what sounds like another disaster of a movie. We have
Yeah, it's not looking good.
I mean, when you fire a director 2 weeks in, it's never a good idea. We have
Just
we
get
have,
Sam Raimi and whoever the decision makers of like the choices they're making going forward with Evil Dead and stuff. Like, they're killing it. That's a huge franchise that they're not letting die, and I'm so happy that's a thing. And
Yeah.
it sounds like they're doing it justice again with the Evil Dead Rises. So fingers crossed.
Yeah.
I just
Texas Chainsaw, give it to them.
yeah.
No shit. Yeah. I mean, I think on paper they gave it to the right person, with Fede Alvarez, because I mean he directed the Evil Dead reboot. But yeah,
Is he doing
I'd
Texas?
love. Yeah, he's not directing it. That's the thing.
He's producing it.
He's
Yeah.
producing it.
Yeah.
And he fired the fucking director 2 weeks into filming, and of course I was like, that's kind of bad. But I was trying to remain optimistic. But then you hear that they had test screenings already, and apparently they were just absolutely disastrous, and there's not anything good to say. And I mean, but that doesn't necessarily mean anything, because like Halloween 2018's test screenings weren't very good. So,
Yeah.
but they changed the ending. They based on the test screenings, they changed the ending, and then we got Halloween 2018, which I think most people tend to say it's a very, very good sequel, and probably the best sequel.
It's because they finally got the mask right. Like, they fucked
they did
the
get
mask.
the mask right. Yeah.
They fucked the mask up for so many years.
Yeah.
Now they finally got it right
What
again.
you mean,
And
man? You didn't like Halloween 5 Alien Myers?
Dude,
and you didn't or Halloween 4 got a finger in the butthole Myers?
Dude, I interviewed him, man.
Which one?
Michael Myers from Halloween 4. George P. Wilbur.
George Wilbur, yeah.
Yeah.
He played him in 4 and 6.
Yeah. And he
I've
had
never-
the worst mask.
Yeah, it's a pretty bad mask.
Yeah.
No,
Pretty
no.
bad mask.
The worst mask is Resurrection with the CGI mask that is that's in like one scene or whatever. But you go back and
Yeah.
watch that, you're like, oh.
Was that Resurrection? I think that was H2O, wasn't it?
Or H2O? Yeah, H2O.
Yeah.
That's what I meant. Yeah. So
That's
George P.
awful.
Wilbur, by the way, what a sweetheart. Like,
I've heard, yeah.
He was so nervous to do the panel at
Really?
CaliHorrorCon, and he was
Yeah.
like shaking and stuff, and and then he like almost didn't show up for it, and I was like, huh, what's going on? And then he showed up. I asked him a question and answered it by accident, and then made fun of myself, and he's like, oh, we're just here hanging out, and then he was like,
That's so funny. That's
Yeah.
great.
I mean,
I have to break
You
the
don't-
tension, man.
you don't take Michael Myers because you want to talk a lot. Or you don't take the role, right? So it's-
That's very true. Yeah.
unless you're
yeah.
like
Fair
screaming-
enough, right?
Yeah. I mean, unless you're in a Rob Zombie version
I've
of it.
I've met Nick Castle and James Jude Courtney, and both of those guys were really, really cool. Really
Yeah.
cool.
Nick Castle was in a bunch of that, the In Search of Darkness part 2 specifically. He
Yeah.
was in a lot
Yeah,
of
he
it,
was.
and he seemed like a good dude, man. We keep talking about Shudder, but fucking Shudder's documentaries that they put on there are like every single one I've watched. Like In Search of Darkness is dope. In Search of Darkness 2 is dope.
But they know they're just giving all of us huge boners because we love this info. Like, if
Yeah.
you're a horror buff, you want to know more. And this
Yeah.
is like, they're doing it justice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I try to watch every horror documentary that I can possibly find. Yeah.
Yeah. Dude, it's
It's
so many.
pathetic.
I still think Scream Queen might be my favorite one that
so
I've ever
good.
seen. Like that was so like
That was so good.
Yeah,
Such
I
a
love
good
that movie.
documentary.
I love that movie, man. It was so much good. It was so much good shit in it. But, yeah.
Just leave it at so much good. It was so much good.
So much good.
So
It's
much
a Rob
good.
thing to say.
Yeah, I mean, God, English and me don't go together well, but here we are regardless, and, bullshitting, and here we are. So.
It's funny how people that can't talk get into hobbies that require a lot of talking, because I'm the same way.
Dude, I never shut up. That's the best part about it. Like, I talk all the time. It makes sense maybe 50% of the time. I don't know. I get made fun of.
50% of the time, it works all the time.
Exactly. Exactly. You know what? After talking about all this and like doing like all these characters and how good this is, I really am. Could this possibly be the first movie that's better than the video game that inspired it? Because like, if I've never heard of this game, I don't know what the likelihood that the game is all that great, right? Like,
Well, let's find out. Let's look up some reviews.
I'm
curious
See, they
myself.
wrapped it up in a murder mystery movie. They made it
Yep.
Clue,
Yep.
the movie with a werewolf at the end, essentially.
Yeah.
Like
They did-
and
it was like Clue and like Fargo and like it had a very
Yeah.
Fargo vibe because of that isolation that is very apparent in Fargo, right? Like that, like you can't get out because of the snow and the
they got
Also-
the snow and the cold and the isolation part.
which is
down.
always
Yeah.
good, like in a horror. I mean, The Thing is still one of my favorite horror movies of all time, and the isolation
so
and
good.
and even like. There's like lesser movies. There's a movie that Kate Beckinsale was in a couple of years back. I mean, a few years back that was like Whiteout or something like that.
Oh, yeah,
Which was another murder mystery in the Antarctica or whatever.
That was based
but, like,
on a graphic novel.
Yeah, which was okay. The movie wasn't great or anything, but like it's a
And she's
cool.
so easy to look at for 90 minutes.
I was just getting ready to say that movie I think that they knew they didn't have the greatest product, because one of the first shots in that movie is Kate Beckinsale's ass in panties walking across the bedroom, and I was like, okay, they really set the bar high for opening scenes. And it didn't get much better than that.
that's her. She's like the chick from Resident Evil, isn't she? Like she's married to her husband's a director, and she just does all like
Kate
the
Beckinsale. Yeah, I think she is married to the person that directed like all those underworld movies. I think
she has like the biggest hands in the world.
Who, he or she?
No, Kate Beckinsale
Does she?
has
I've
like
never
the
noticed.
biggest. No, she was on what was she? I think like Conan O'Brien or something one time, and they brought it up, and that's why she's so good with movies that have guns, because she's got massive hands. And then she put her hand up to Conan, who's like 27 feet tall, and she had bigger hands than him. I was like, holy shit.
I didn't know this. That's funny.
She'll make your dick look real small.
I was about to go there. Every time she puts your dick in your hand, you're like, it looks so small.
I'm holding like a light switch. Fuck.
Okay, you can give me a hand job, but like I gotta close. Can't turn the
close
lights
my
on.
eyes.
I can't. You can't turn the lights on because it's just my man. I can't handle it. Like, and then you definitely not recording giving me a hand job, because all my friends are gonna think I have the smallest dick in the world, and we can't have that. We just can't have that.
That's too funny.
It's weird because that's one of those things that like once you say that, it like you'll never forget it. It's like the whole Megan Fox has toe thumbs or
I have
toe
toe
like,
thumbs.
But nobody ever wants to, like.
kind of do. Yeah.
Has everyone
No, I
ever
actually
said
do.
you're like
Like,
the hottest
they
girl
only-
in the world, though, Josh? No one's ever said that about you. Like Megan
Hottest
Fox,
girl? No.
like Megan Fox, that was like everyone's like, oh my gosh, she's so beautiful, and then you talk about her toe thumbs, and you're just like trying to ruin.
You know what's even
Megan Fox.
weirder? People that have one toe thumb and one normal thumb. I worked with a guy that had one toe thumb and one normal. I was like, "Oh, you got toe thumbs too?" He's like, "No, I have toe thumb." And I was like, "Oh!" Like, what? I was totally kidding, but that's just like way stranger than having two toe thumbs.
Yeah, if you're at least your thing is both hands, right? It's like it's
Ew!
no,
Get away from me!
That's funny, man, because like she's a like I'm not gonna ever say Kate Beckinsale is like the best actress ever, but like she's good. Like she's always like.
I think she's a good actor.
I
think
like
she's a
those
good actor.
vampire
Yeah.
movies. What
Yeah.
were those ones?
Underworld.
Oh, Underworld. Some of them are
Underworld
all right.
1 through 15.
Yeah. You know what you said about that when you guys were talking about something, Bryan, on Dead in Santa Carla, and like they actually was like bunches of practical effects in those movies, and which I think
Yeah.
it's one of those reasons why those movies are watchable. Like,
Yeah.
because that the practical effects are so entertaining. Those movies,
Yeah,
They were
I
coming out
kinda
at the same
think
time as like
that-
Blade and stuff, right? That was that whole like Blade.
Yeah, they came out shortly after that. Yeah,
Yeah.
right around the same time, I guess. But yeah, well, that's one of the things that you're right. Like the movies themselves may not be of great quality, but there's certainly those are just those popcorn movies. You know,
Yeah.
Michael Bay may as well have made all those fucking
I
things.
think I was just the
And-
right age. She gave
Yeah.
she moved stuff in my pants the right way.
Yeah, yeah.
Under my popcorn, so it was good.
Yeah. But yeah, those wolves are in my opinion, the werewolves in Underworld, some of the best on-screen werewolves you'll see. I really think that, and it's because they're practical effects. You know, people in dope ass fucking costumes and makeup and shit and prosthetics, and
we
wolf,
have to talk about
fucking
that.
sells
Like,
it.
where this movie has werewolf in the title, where it like stands, because they did like a Teen Wolf look in this movie.
Kind of, yeah, kind of,
like,
yeah.
And I kind of liked it. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like
I didn't
because it's
dislike it. I
comedy,
did not dislike it. Yeah,
It wasn't great.
No,
but it
no.
wasn't like, I don't know. Like we have to like almost.
Yeah, we'll
like,
get it.
What
When we
what
spoil
are like
it,
the top
yeah.
5 werewolf like looks to you guys? Like
Man.
Dude,
Like
I
that-
I think I tell you.
I think
I
I
really,
still-
really. Go ahead. Sorry, Ron.
I was gonna say I still think my favorite is Dog Soldiers. I think the Dog Soldiers
Dog
costume,
Soldiers
that's
are
so
great.
creepy. Yeah.
yeah,
Dog Soldiers are great. Yeah.
because of the just that long, like
It-
scary torso that like has
That's- That's the like scariest part of that though.
Yeah.
Like they took what was scary and then made it super weirder looking, and it terrified me when I was a kid. Like that
It's
actually
yeah.
scarred me a little bit when I was a kid.
I mean, we talked about The Howling, Bryan, and like the werewolves in that are pretty dope. I think that the
Yeah,
best
I
part
agree.
of the werewolves in American Werewolf in London is the transformation. I think that werewolves look very like bear-like in that
Yeah,
movie.
I agree. I wish that I liked the final look of the werewolf in London. I really wish I liked that more. I don't
like-
hate it though. I
I don't
would still
either.
probably put that in my top 5. Honestly,
Oh, yeah,
I would
yeah.
still probably put it in
It's
top 5.
fucking great. But I feel like they set the bar for transformation.
Oh,
and
yeah.
anytime anyone does transformation now, they're just ripping off American Werewolf.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
I think that when we talked about The Howling, I think that all the what do you call it when they put the bags underneath them and
Oh
like,
yeah. The very liquidy, pulsating kind of shit that
Yeah.
was going on under the skin and the Howling.
yeah.
Looks so fucking cool.
Yeah, I think that scene might we talked about it, but like I think that scene isn't as like impressive, but it's actually scarier because of how
It's impactful as hell
Yeah.
because he's just flexing in front of this poor girl, knowing
Yeah.
that she's getting, knowing that he's getting ready to rip the fucking shit out of her.
Yeah.
And he's just flexing in front of her, just changing. He wants her to see. Yeah, it's a great fucking scene. It's so good.
I think that this movie it's good, but I again it's you can tell it's a budget thing and like the budgetary and also how
It's
it
had a
was all said.
$6.5 million budget, by the way, for this movie. So a little more than I thought, honestly.
Yeah, I wonder how much of that was
6.5
like.
I gotta
was
put
just-
Ginger Snaps on the list though. Like that one was
Oh,
filmed
you know,
in
don't.
Calgary, and it's like an alumni of the like, the college film course in Calgary or whatever. So now they like teach that movie in the course because
Dude.
Oh, that's cool.
yeah.
I think that movie
love that movie.
That movie's awesome and it's so underappreciated. I've never seen
I
it.
agree.
I've never seen any of the sequels, but like I think that like that movie as a lesson of what it does, and that takes that normally pretty masculine like beast within kind of thing, and then takes
Yeah.
it and tells it from a woman's perspective is
Yeah.
so impactful because of how they
That's
tell it.
Yeah, it's a coming of age movie.
I mean, it's a coming of age movie with like
Yeah.
periods and weird it's there's so much shit, but like there's a lot of that stuff. I mean, have you either one of you guys seen Raw, the Spanish movie where the two girls are like the girl's going off to college and like she's not allowed to eat meat, and there's like this whole like it turns into a cannibal thing.
Yeah, I have seen that one. Yeah,
I don't think I've seen that. Oh.
It's more of Spanish, but it reminds me of Ginger Snaps in like a lot in like spirit, because it's that like that story.
Wrong. It's not supposed to be this way.
Kind of thing. So,
but my favorite sexy werewolf though is
Wolf Cop.
Wolf Cop.
Yeah, I love that fucking movie.
Did that movie? That's another one, man. It's very.
I have another one.
That's a great figure. Is that autographed?
Hell yeah, dude.
Ah, that's fucking dope, bro.
And then I got another autographed picture of him laying on his skin, like the sexy pose.
Yes, that's so good.
On the rug, right?
Yeah.
Dude.
No, it's his skin. Like he peeled his skin off, and it looks like a rug of a human person.
And now
those are fucking great.
And now you know why we love Psycho Goreman so much. Have you watched Psycho Goreman yet, Brian?
Not yet, no. But it's on my list, and it's one of the next couple movies on my list that I'm going to be. You need to watch it, dude. Because I got some time off coming up. That I basically I'm on at least 2-week layoff from my job, so I'm going to knock out a bunch of movies.
Brian got caught blowing people at work again, and they're like, Brian, we just can't. Not again, Brian.
Well, the problem was that it was just the wrong person that I was blowing. You know.
Blow your way to the top, not to.
I'd be working if I was blowing the boss, but god damn it, I'm just a sucker for sanitation workers.
No, you blew the boss. You just didn't.
Nothing against sanitation workers. That sounded super dick. I'm so sorry.
Brian, you didn't put your heart into it. You need to put your heart into your blowjobs. That's all.
No, put your back into it.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's not your heart, man. It's your back. That's what you gotta put it.
No, you want it to touch your heart. You gotta
do the twist thing. You know, like the twist thing.
Corkscrew.
Yeah, the corkscrew. Yeah, exactly.
How many times are we gonna talk about this today on the show? Just let me go grab my samurai sword, man.
Chopping dicks off.
That was a great episode, by the way, guys. I absolutely loved that discussion when you were talking with Enola.
Enola is awesome.
Yeah, that was a fun episode. That was a good episode.
It was a blast to talk. That movie is fucking incredibly.
I can't wait to watch it. It's on my list. I tell you, it sounds fun.
The title line that we all didn't see on the poster until I posted on Twitter, and then we were all just like, "Oh my god, what the fuck?"
Yeah, it was like, so the poster was like the worst thing to come out of Germany since 1945 or something like that, or like insane like that. You're like, okay, there, buddies.
You went there. You fucking went there.
And you know, that was some American distribution company that did that.
Probably.
You know that was
probably that
Germany doesn't acknowledge anything. Like Germany has this weird gap in history from like 1936 until like 1945. Like what? No, Germany.
Nothing happened.
Like,
Trust me. Nothing happened, guys.
Nothing to see here. Move along.
Yeah, nothing.
It was like it's the burning dog meme. Everything is fine.
Everything's fine.
Yeah. So I would definitely go say like if this movie, if you're looking for something fun and like it was funny, it's got gore and everything like that. Go check it out. It's rentable it's rentable all over the place, right?
Mm-hmm.
So because it is a 2021 movie, so but it's worth the $4-5 or whatever it is to rent it.
I enjoyed it. I really did.
Yeah.
I'm probably gonna buy it when it comes out. Honestly, I really liked it that much.
Yeah, it's
just for the characters alone, man.
Yeah, This is I really love the because Knives Out's one of my favorite movies of the past 5 years. Easy.
Yeah.
It's probably number
sequel
2 or 3
instantly. Like
and they're gonna be they're going directly to Netflix.
Yeah.
What?
I guess Netflix paid like a ridiculous amount of money.
It gave Rainn
parts 2 and 3.
It gave Rainn Wilson like 20 mil a movie or something insane like that. Like they gave him a lot of money. And
have you seen Rian Johnson's earlier films and stuff? Like
Looper's fantastic.
I love Looper.
Fucking love Looper.
Looper, man. Looper's a dope. Brick is the other one he did.
Brick is fucking amazing.
Yeah.
But didn't he do one before that I saw? No, I'm thinking of someone else. But Brick was fucking fantastic.
Dude, it's funny because he got ostracized because of fucking the Star Wars shit, and I don't completely blame him. I blame that
He didn't
that
have
whole
full create. Well, and if he did, they
You don't-
shouldn't have given it to him like that
Yeah.
because.
I,
Wars
I'm
is a
in the mi-
mess.
apparently I'm in the minority, or I'm just a critic because I really liked his movie.
I did too.
Really
I
liked it.
fucking loved it.
Yeah.
It was brave. It was the only brave
Yes,
one.
that's
out
what I
there.
loved about it. He took
Yes.
chances. He showed people a side of Luke that most Star Wars fans didn't want to see. He painted him as not a perfect fucking creature, and because he's not, he's a flawed Jedi.
Yeah.
And I fucking loved that take
Yeah.
on Star Wars, and most of the fans absolutely hate it. And honestly, I understand. I do. I get
They
it.
just
I was
wanted
young,
more
man.
of the same. They wanted
yeah,
more
they
of the
did.
same.
They wanted
so
more of
J.J.
the same.
Abrams came and made A New Hope 2, and then he made Return
Yeah.
of the Jedi-ish 2.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah, we've already. I mean, and that's the thing that I enjoy Force Awakens and I enjoy Rise of Skywalker, and I really do. But I'd seen those before.
Yeah.
I'd never seen The Last
Yeah.
Jedi. I've never seen that movie.
A bigger
I
Star
was a
Destroyer. Like,
fan.
fuck off. Are you
Yeah.
kidding me? Again? They did
Yeah.
it again?
Again. Yeah.
That's I sat there and I'm like, you watch The Force Awakens and you're going,
This was A New Hope.
this is A New Hope and Return of the Jedi in the same movie. You're
Essentially.
going, you're doing the same, and it's just like you can't do the same plot. Oh, I mean, unless you're doing Fast and Furious, and that's completely different. But even that jumped the shark now.
That meme
Yeah.
is so perfect. Like, I'm so pissed off that I paid to see that movie because it's like that's the franchise that is my guilty pleasure franchise. But now it's just guilty. It's not a pleasure anymore because that last movie was fucking brutal. Like, people are like, oh, but whatever. Like, throw out all logic.
They're out all logic and all story. Period.
Because it has guns in it. No, you need some logic. And that meme where he's just standing there, who needs logic when you have family? That's it. That's the whole
all.
movie.
Yeah, that last episode I listened to, you were talking about how you didn't like that movie. You were pretty disappointed.
I was just laughing my ass off because of the memes that have come out of that, and my favorite one was I'll just tell it in dialogue, but there was a picture for it too. It was why is reverse cowgirl outlawed in Alabama?
Why?
Because you never turn your back on your family.
Oh my God!
No.
Just like that, all the Alabama listeners turned off.
And I just laughed my ass off. And the reason why I laughed so hard was because
Why do people make fun of Alabama so much? Even Bo Burnham does.
I don't know, man. It's
Just make fun of Fast and the Furious now, man. That is just.
there were so many of those, but that was
But
the one
that's
that
the
made me laugh.
director that I was talking about, actually. What's his name?
Justin Lin.
Justin Lin. His earlier movies were fucking rad.
Yeah.
I think he's directed 5 of these movies, hasn't he?
He's the one that made it into the franchise that it is. He started with Tokyo Drift and then had the idea for the family to come back together in the 4th one. And then, it was Better Luck Tomorrow. That's the movie that I was talking about or thinking about that I thought Rian Johnson did because I saw that and Brick around the same time. And Better Luck Tomorrow is fucking rad. And that has his favorite character ever, Sung Kang, in it, who plays Han in all the Fast and Furious movies. And his name is Han in that movie. So
He's just always Han.
Yeah, he's always Han. He's not allowed to die. And he just keeps coming back to life because he was in Justin Lin's first movie.
Man. Yep.
Eating chips.
Yep, that's Fast and Furious. So yeah, go see this or rent it or check it out, and then we're gonna spoil the shit out of it because there's literally though that it's not gonna be all that much, right? Because a lot of it's this movie's very character centric with point.
Yeah, we couldn't talk about the story at all because we didn't want to spoil anything, so we talked about the characters this entire time and nothing really about the movie. So this is all we can do is spoil now.
Yeah. So go watch it, and we're gonna spoil the movie now.
Fair warning, folks.
Fair warning.
Fair
Dun, dun, dun.
warning.
We'll play moose noises or something now at this point.
Yeah.
No, we've been doing Brian, have you seen Mitchell's versus the Machines?
No.
The one on Netflix. It's the animated movie that came out on Netflix about a month ago, but it is
But it's
fucking
Sony.
tastic.
Yeah, it's got the Sony. It's Sony animation, so they did that like Into the Spider-Verse like treatment to it.
I love it. Yeah.
So sick, and like if they keep doing that with movies coming forward, like, but all the characters are very awesome and like punk rock as well. So they just the aesthetic is perfect.
The main character is like a filmmaker and everything, but like they make this moose. If you listen to, like, kept putting that moose noises in the beginning of it, is the characters go woo. It's how the moose say "love you." I love you, and that's from.
But I told you that day that I went out with my daughter to the mall to buy this shirt, the Friday 13th shirt. We made those moose noises in the car on the way to. I was like, my life is awesome right now.
Yeah, it's mooses and mooses. So yeah, that movie's dope. So especially like if you want to watch, your wife wants to watch something cute or whatever, it's definitely worth it. So yes. So this movie starts off with a character who you later find out is the husband of this innkeeper who she owns like this inn in this tiny ass Vermont town, which it's
makes
weird.
A badass sandwich, by the way.
Yeah. She they like this town has like this one inn, but the inn is like people. It's kind of more like a boarding house at this point, right? Like like people come in and live in it because it doesn't seem like there's a lot of places for people to live. And this guy gets carried off, and you don't see by anything. You just see him get fucked up and like pulled off screen, right?
The classic.
Yeah.
Yeah, it gets kind of throttled and
It's
thrown around a little.
There's a monster in this horror movie, and A, we either don't have the budget to show you it, or B, we restraint, which isn't always a horror like movies like specialty, right? But they do a good job with that.
Like Jurassic Park, it's a dinosaur movie that only has dinosaurs in it, just like Jaws too. Like he's the master of not showing and building up and like letting other things scare you instead.
Yeah, exactly. It's way better because Bruce was fucked up. Damn Bruce the shark.
Bruce, man.
Bruce the shark. So yeah, then we go and meet Sam Richardson, who is who's playing Finn Wheeler, which also is the whitest guy's name in the world, but is that Sam is a black guy, right? He's the guy from the Tomorrow War. Who's a
I know him first from Veep. He was really good in Veep.
Yeah, he played in he played in a lot of television stuff.
He's funny, man. He's funny in this movie. It's like it's funny. There's all these like really funny like black comedians doing these roles now. Like I've been watching the Harley Quinn show on HBO, and what's his name is in that. He plays King Shark. Another black comedian's in that, and he's just fucking hysterical the whole time in that. And it's like there's all these really funny dudes that are just making. And this guy's Sam is awesome in this, right?
I want to see him all the time. Like he's one of my favorite like comedic actors right now, and he's knocked it out of the park every time. Did you watch the Tomorrow War?
I haven't watched it yet. No,
I haven't watched it yet either.
It's a letdown movie just because it's so cliche, but I love his comedic relief in that movie. Just like a scene where he's walking or running with a gun, like going, "Oh shit! Oh shit!" Oh, like it's too funny, man.
Yeah,
he's perfectly him.
It's funny because they he's the scene that they show in the trailers for it. It's him in the helicopter loading his pistol, and they're like, he's like, "I'm ready," and they're like, "But that's not loading." He's like, well, this cabin's pressurized. I'm not gonna actually put a bullet in it. And so you learn pretty early, like a little bit later on. What did he do to get himself like? Oh, how did he get assigned to this shitty Vermont town? He fucked up, right? What the fuck did he do?
I can't remember what he did. He fucked something up though.
Yeah. Me neither. For some reason,
I can't remember what he did.
He fucked something up and it moved to this small town, and it's funny because
it's the only way. Yeah, I do know that it was the only way that he could save his job was he had to take a transfer.
Yeah, and his girlfriend basically dumps him because of this, and he
But he
can't
doesn't know.
he can't acknowledge it. Like he can't come to terms with it. And it's either A, because this woman like didn't like she dumped him but didn't do a very good job of communicating with him, or B, he's just so like dense he doesn't. And I kind of think it's B.
Small combination of the both.
I feel like she was probably just like gaslighting the whole time with him in the relationship. It felt like, and this movie did a really good job actually right off the get-go when you first meet the first character that dies. Like there's no dialogue.
Dave.
But with like a few different little things that he did, you knew that he was cheating on his wife in the first second of the movie, and before he died.
He started
so it's
playing around with his wedding ring
and
taking
answering a call that wasn't from like we would just assume it wasn't said by any means, but then he felt like guilty and took his ring off type thing, or whatever, right? So it did a good job. Just like I'm like, oh, this movie is going to hopefully not like just throw exposition in my face, and it didn't. So
it's good. There's good visual storytelling in this
for sure.
It's the treating your audience like intelligent human beings, and like giving them credit for like observing and watching and thinking, okay, they can actually think and use their heads. But yeah, so Finn,
I appreciate it.
So Finn is coming into this tiny fucking town, and he's going to live in this inn. And when he gets there, like he dumps his stuff off, and he figures out it's like there's this character Sam Parker, played by Wayne Duvall, who is basically trying to convince everyone. He owns a gas company, and he's trying to get a bunch of people to sell their property or sell
pipeline
property to put a gas line in to make a shit ton of money. They never really go like what they make it sound like they're not selling houses or anything. They're just selling some woods or something like that like the community owns, but they need to have like a unanimous decision or they won't sell it. So it's a big conflict of the movie, and is kind of what drives, especially the second act. The second act is kind of the second into the third act kind of drives that portion of the movie. And we have so basically Finn is there, and he gets set up with the innkeepers, played by Catherine Curtin. Her name is Janine Sherman, the wife of the guy who gets eaten, which you don't know at the beginning, but you kind of figured out when they start talking about how like her husband ran off, because it takes the guy gets murder killed, like, and then it goes to what 29.5 days later.
29.5 days later.
Yeah. So you're going, oh, okay, moon cycles in werewolves, which is a clever thing, and something that also sets that time apart so the community could be more fucked up by the guy being disappeared, right? So basically at this point, Finn is there, and then the AT&T girl shows up.
Yeah.
And
Milana Weintraub.
She's hot, man.
She's super pretty.
Yeah.
Very cute. Very cute girl.
And she's the mail woman, and she's going to be delivering shit. So she brings Finn around to show people around town, and you just start meeting the quirky. I mean, you kind of met the quirky motherfuckers, but you meet the gay couple that owns the yoga studio. You meet the crazy lady who like makes these angels that like you put on top of Christmas trees, but like it doesn't seem like it's anywhere near Christmas, but like you don't really know. You just meet a bunch of quirky people. You meet the giant gas penis that's sitting in the town. Which, by the way, that thing blows up later, and it looks like a fucking like the nuclear missile that they shoot off in Aliens. Like that's how big of a fucking explosion looked like it was.
I love that shot. That's super. Yeah. It's super funny because it's so far away and you don't hear anything. You just see it.
You go. That's one of the scenes you go, oh, that was such a budget shot. Like it's like they were like, oh, we can't actually blow this up in this little town. So we're gonna just zoom out and show.
But it fits the feel of the movie so well though, because it's super. This movie's super tongue in cheek.
Oh yeah,
I mean, I really love it.
It's all the characters are very like they're like you take a normal person and you turn them up to 11 kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
They're all like
super exaggerated.
yeah.
Well, as soon as you saw that phallic symbol, I knew they were going to use it somehow.
Yeah.
It's you look at it, you're like, what the? And they acknowledge it too, which is why like this movie, like tongue in cheek, you're talking about. It's like he goes, "What is that?" Finn does, and she's like, Cecily is Miliana's character, the male
Cecily
woman.
Moore. Yeah.
Yeah, and she's like, "Oh, that's the phallic." Whatever to like get the town to vote for this measure so that this Sam Parker guy can make all this money. So she shows him around, and then fucking man, this is where you go, Cecily, you kind of fucking suck right away, and then you start getting inklings of it, and you go, she's like, oh, can you go give this package to this dude because he likes to know who's around the town, and you go, and this is when this dude starts trying to make a phone call or gets a phone call. And she's like, you might want to read the signs, but doesn't really fucking tell Finn. He's like, so he's wandering off, and there's like all these like don't trespass, trespassers will be shot kind of signs, and walking up to this fucking house, and this Grizzly Adams motherfucker shows up, and he's like holding a rifle on Finn. He's like, get off my fucking property, because he's just. I think he's in like leathers and shit like that. Like he looks like a pioneer.
He's got a goddamn wolf head cowl.
Yeah.
Like he literally is wearing animals. Like 100%.
He looks like a motherfucker who's going on the Oregon Trail basically at this point. Like he looks
bad fucking ass is what he looks.
Yeah.
He's a badass for sure. And he like scares Finn off, and she's like, "Oh yeah, he doesn't like people." And he's like, Finn kind of gets pissed, but doesn't really, and it's kind of funny. And you're like, this guy is kind of timid, right? He's kind of he lets people walk all over him, kind of thing, right? And that comes back later in the movie about how he's like, "No, I'm a nice person." Unlike all the crazy people in this movie. So they go back, and they're going to this. They go back to the hotel and kind of shuts down for the night. Like, is this when the Dr. Ellis shows up? She shows up a little bit later.
I think she just kind of shows up standing behind him. I don't even remember seeing her before that moment when she's just kind of standing behind him. But
yeah, she's like creepy.
Yeah,
she's like that like no like can't like has no social ability to interact with anyone, and she's there to like she's doing environmental work to convince people not to sell this to this Sam dude. And they kind of shut down for the night at this point, and this is like one of the characters you met. Michelle Watkins plays this Trisha Anderson Anderton. Sorry. Yeah. Anderton's a weird name, by the way. I don't know anyone named Anderton. And she was the one who was giving out the angels to people. And she goes and walks her dog in the middle of the night, and it gets yanked off of its chain and taken away. And the next morning when Finn wakes up in the hotel, she's this... Trisha is like losing her mind. She's got the weirdest accent in this fucking movie, and I've seen her in other stuff, and it's just it must be that Vermont accent. Vermont's a weird place because it has a lot of like Canada and weird like old white money kind of things in it, but like she's got this accent that's kind of fucking hysterical, and she's like losing her shit because her dog got eaten or whatever. And this all drives like they figure out that it's like the snowstorm's coming, and they go out, and so Finn's gonna go looking. He wants to convince the crazy Grizzly Adams motherfucker to come to hunt for this thing, but like that they don't know what it is. They kind of assume it's a wolf, right? But then they figure out that all the generators in town have been like slashed the fuck up, and they've been slashed real good, and you're like, well, this wasn't a fucking animal, right? This is
I love the look. It's like the classic like 3 claw like tear rip metal, like it looks dope.
Yeah, and you once you figure out what happens, who did it, you're like, oh, okay, that makes sense. But they shut down all the generators, and then like they figured all the generators are fucked up. They go and talk to the Grizzly Adams motherfucker again, and he's like, I ain't doing shit. And the best part is like is Finn trying to sell this guy to do this, and he's like, you want to be a good neighbor, like you want to be like Mr. Rogers, which is one of the funnier things.
That's how they opened the movie up, with the Mr. Rogers
Yeah,
quote.
Mr. Rogers
that was
quote,
cool.
yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, and it's like it's very like appropriate for this, because none of these motherfuckers are every single one of these people is the worst neighbor you could ever have in the history of ever. They're all this shit. They're all only concerned about themselves, or not all of them, like kind of, but like I don't know. So he's like, fuck this, and while they're leaving, Cecily she finds the collar for this dog that got snacked on. And there's like, we gotta get out of here.
It was a tasty little morsel.
Yeah, it was a tasty. It was one of those yippy dogs, right? Like one of those like small furry things that you want to punt because it won't ever shut the fuck up. But
that's another good scene where they didn't show anything other than what was happening inside, and just the leash moving. Like it's a cheap trick, but it worked so well. Yeah.
Again, it's fucking, the less you show in this shit, the better. Again, I will say it over and over and over again. Paranormal Activity, one of the better horror movies of in my opinion, of the last 20 years, whatever. And it's because it's shot well, but they don't show anything. And it's like the little things they do show just build it up. And that's the same thing here. They're not showing shit.
It makes it scarier.
Yeah. And so basically at this point, they go back to the hotel and everyone's there, and they basically figure out that the snowstorm has like knocked over these power lines. Snow fucked. Yes, snow fucked the town, and they can't get out. So everyone kind of sets up at this inn, and they all have guns.
Yeah. Well, they've also at this point they've found the body.
Yeah.
Of Janine's husband.
Yeah.
Dave.
They found him underneath the porch or something, by the generator. Yeah. And it's another good thing. Like this is another one of these horror movies that like we keep talking about. They don't show much. Like they don't even focus on the body really. You just see it like in that like blurry kind of like letting your imagination show how fucked up this body is, right? And they all decide that they're going to hang out here. And at this point, Dr. Ellis finds these hairs on the body, and she starts doing like microscope shit and like, testing, because there's no power because of the generators all being out, but she's got a bunch of mobile batteries because she's used to working in the woods.
Generators.
Yeah. And so she's like, oh, this isn't like, she's like, this isn't human. And and you're like, oh, okay. And this is what the movie does a really good job of. It makes you wonder the whole time, is there really a werewolf? Because it's restraint. So everyone sets up at this hotel, and in the middle of the night, who is it? It's the husband of like
the husband of the yippy dog.
Yeah, Trisha.
Yeah. Trisha's husband. It's Pete Anderton.
Yeah. He gets pulled out into the hallway or whatever, and like gets his fucking hand chopped off, like or bitten off. He gets all of his fingers bitten off. Actually, it kind of reminded you, Josh, of the piano scene in House from last week.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, and it does again, and it sets everything up. Like it's all this tension and all these people, and they're all pulling guns on each other, and like, oh, this is why you would do this, and they're all accusing everyone of this, and they're
who done it?
Yeah, it's very like, it's like Clue basically was why you use the Clue comparisons, and you're like, oh shit, and everyone's losing their goddamn minds, and a bunch of characters end up leaving, and people are like trying to shoot each other, and who gets shot?
Well, Pete gets shot when he's getting attacked by
his wife shoots him, right?
Yeah, he's shot by Gwen.
Yeah, Gwen.
Gwen, Marcus's girlfriend or wife.
Yeah. Dude,
she shoots him. She's trying to shoot.
Marcus and Gwen are the fucking biggest rednecks in the world.
Yeah, they're kind of my favorite characters because they're so fucking silly.
Yeah.
They're super exaggerated versions of white trash hillbillies. Like super exaggerated.
He was wearing like a prosthetic on his nose or something too, right?
Yeah.
I think so. It looked like it.
Dude, that motherfucker, you look at his pictures on IMDb and he looks like a fucking caveman. He looks like the guy from the old Geico commercials almost. Like he looks like that hair kind of. But like, yeah, they're both like they own the like the mechanic like place, repair place in the town.
The auto shop, yeah.
And they both seem like they do meth like 24/7. Like they both do, like they're whacked out the entire time. She starts shooting at whatever's going after the husband and shoots him in like the shoulder kind of area. And so they're trying to get out, and this is where everyone is like, they're like, it's just chaos at this point, right? It's chaos.
Oh yeah, everybody's turned on everybody at this point. I think at this point, even I want to say at this point, this is when the doctor concludes that it's a werewolf.
Yeah,
and I think she ends up killing herself. Doesn't she end up killing herself?
That's one of the things that's good. They sell it. That's what the Sam Parker, the gas guy, sells it as. But there's a distinct different chance that he goes into her room. You hear a gunshot, and he says she shot herself. So you never even know.
Right?
And like,
They did that really well though. Like the whole time, I was like, I don't know, man. Like I didn't. I thought it was who it was, and then I didn't, and then they did, I don't know. They built it up so well. I honestly, when it was fully revealed, I was like, well, there's only like 4 people left. It kind of had to be that person.
Yeah.
But until that time, I still wasn't 100% sure because they're pulling fast ones and making. I don't know. What did you?
The bait and switch, baby. The bait and switch.
Did you figure it out, or were you?
Did I figure it out? Yes and no, because I thought the werewolf was the person it was at the very first of the movie, and then like 30 minutes or 40 minutes in, I was like, okay, maybe it's not.
Yeah.
So I kind of the same thing. Yeah.
I thought it was Finn for a large portion of the movie, the main character, because he follows like.
See, for a second I kind of considered that too, but that first attack happened 30 days almost before he even got there.
Yeah.
So that's why I was like, it couldn't have been him. But then there was enough crap that kind of.
Yeah.
They really put a lot of evidence, for the characters. But then I don't know.
Yeah. So this part, all these characters go fucking bonkers. Like,
oh yeah, it's great. Marcus's wife drives over him. It's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
That shit had me dead.
Trisha fucking
laughing. Yeah.
What is Trisha stabs the Devin Wolfson the big good looking gay guy.
Yeah, she does.
She stabs him in the neck with a maple syrup thing and like makes this like joke about like the best maple syrup or whatever, and like stabs him right in the throat, and it's like
she's fucking the death of her dog really fucking pushed her over the edge, man.
She's like,
that's kind of scary knowing that somebody is that close to losing it. And something like losing your dog makes you go on a murderous rampage.
Well, the thing with her the whole time too, like she's one of the biggest proponents of selling the land because she wants the money, because she wants an antique shop or something like that.
She wants an antique shop.
And when the gay couple are the ones who are really fighting against it because they have money, they don't need the money, they want the quiet, they want to live in this. And so she stabs him in the neck, and you're like, what the fuck? And he gets separated from his husband, and he runs back, and he's like. Is he like hiding under the porch or something?
He is. Yeah, he's hiding. I think under the porch or under the house somehow.
Yeah. And it's like, oh my god, this is where
Joaquin is fucking hilarious.
Dude,
again, by the way, we mentioned that at the beginning, and he's so fucking funny.
Yeah,
Harvey Guillen was hilarious.
Yeah, he does that. It's a stereotypical gay man, but like he does a really good job of just being funny with it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like this point, you have like. Sam is like decked out like he's like a hunter, and he's got like a bow, like a crossbow, and like is like he's shooting people, and then like
where did like those binocular night vision things he was wearing too? Like,
thank you.
That would be, especially indoors, and he's got a flashlight on, he would be
Yeah.
blind.
He would not see shit. No.
Yeah.
Thank you for pointing that out, because I watched this with my son, and even he mentioned that, and he was like, "Are those night vision or just binocular?" I'm like, "Well, I'm gonna assume they're night vision."
Yeah.
And he goes, "Well, he's got a fucking flashlight. Like, he wouldn't even see anything." I go, "Yeah, and there's a big ass fire going in the fireplace."
I
Like,
think
he
it was
wouldn't
just for
see much at
aesthetic.
all.
Unless it's
Yeah,
one of those-
purely aesthetic reasons.
I feel like it's the one that's like the ones that you can like, just flip on and off.
Maybe,
like,
yeah,
yeah.
that's true. That's a good point.
Yeah.
You could have just had him toggled off, I suppose.
Yeah.
But I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's. I
I'm
mean,
not
it's
gonna
like,
give him the benefit of the doubt.
No, I can't. Yeah, exactly.
and he's like, this is the part. This is what you guys were talking about. He's like, he's hunting people down, and then like, someone gets run over by the car. Like,
Yeah, Marcus. Marcus
Yeah.
gets run over by his wife. She backs over him, and
Yeah.
then she's
like,
yelling
"Hurry
at him
up,"
because she
'cause-
doesn't realize she backed over him.
Yep. Yeah, she hits him,
That
and
was
you're
the-
like,
that was a 1-2 punch, because then
Trisha
Crazy
shoots
lady.
her in the fucking head.
you guys
Yeah.
are stealing shit from my house. Fuck you.
Yeah, that was really a lot of people got taken out in a span of 3.5 minutes. It seems like in
Yeah.
this movie.
It's
It was
very-
super funny.
it's very like it's building up tension for like most of the first 2 acts, and then just fucking the gasoline goes, and it's just like that fucking werewolf attack. I mean, werewolf attack is really sets everything off, and like all these
Yeah.
people use it to like do whatever they want to do or want to get away with, and while people like Gwen is panicking and like
Can we talk real quick about how awesome Trisha's death is?
yeah,
Because I died laughing. The setup for this was so hilarious because she has Joaquin, Cecily, and Finn held basically hostage. With her gun in in her living room. And I can't remember how it happens, but she loses, she takes her eyes off of them, and Joaquin slaps her in the fucking head with a fire poker super fucking hard.
yep.
And her death was great because she turns around, falls on her knees, and she's sitting there. It's Sam Richardson once again. He's so funny, and his timing is just he's just like, she's okay, right? She's okay. And then you see a little bit of blood fall for her forehead, and then she falls forward into the fucking fire.
Yeah, it was
And then
probably
he's like, "Oh no, she's not."
They layer it. So like that's what
so
this movie
funny, dude.
got right though, because like even their deaths were like a layered joke, like a
Right,
gag
exactly.
as like a comedic thing. So it was like horrific because her head was burning, but it was hilarious at the same
Hilarious,
time. And
dude.
to get that mix right,
Right, yeah.
it was good.
That was just great. That was the execution on that to me was so fun. That's to me that's the fucking award for best death in this movie. 100%.
Yeah, oh, definitely,
It was
definitely.
hers. I was so funny. Oh my god.
It was, the line was amazing. Like it was saying like Finn is that goofy comic relief kind of thing. Like he's like that dry sense of humor a lot of the movie, right? Like Bryan and I were talking about before we started, like how he's the idiot who Cecily tries to like start kissing him at the beginning of the movie, and then he tries to answer his phone because his ex-girlfriend's calling. She's just, are you
He
fucking
cock-blocks
kidding
himself.
me? Yeah. Are you fucking kidding
You
me?
have the
And-
AT&T girl. Come on.
and-
when fucking Milana Vaintrob's when Cecily comes out dancing to fucking The Sign by Ace of Base.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I was just like, okay, this is awesome.
yeah. And dude, I'm like,
She's so gorgeous.
yeah.
She
and
really
I was
is super
I loved
pretty.
that song when I was a kid. I was like in like 5th or 6th grade when that song came out, and it was like I thought it was like that pop song that like stuck in my head as a kid.
oh, yeah.
Like, and I was like
Me and
obsessed
my
with it.
friends were like weirdly obsessed with Ace
yeah.
of Base, and
Yeah.
we went on this like guys trip to this place Sylvan Lake by us that had like the water slides, and it's like this small lake town, and it has 2 like pubs side by side that in the weekend turn into their like nightclub situation or whatever.
Yeah.
So like there's a DJ at one and then like something else going on at the other. So like we went up and asked the DJ to play Ace of Base. Just no, you gotta play Ace of Base, man. Play Ace of Base. And then we got so drunk that we like went and pub crawled to the next place and then came back. It's like, you haven't played our song yet. Yes, I have. We'll play some more Ace of Base. And he ended up playing 3 songs. We fucking missed all of them. And he's like, I'm not playing any more fucking Ace of Base, man. Like, dude, pissing off the DJ.
When I was a kid, I called like the local pop station in Cleveland, and I was like, play Ace of Base. You got to play Ace of Base. And then, because I was a kid. Only time I've ever done that, it was I saw the sign, and I was obsessed with that shit when I was a kid. And I was like, man, I don't know. That song is it's timeless,
It's
man.
fire. It's fire.
Too sweet.
It's kind of a bopper, I tell you.
They're very Swedish, right? Aren't those 2 girls Swedish? I think. I don't know.
I think they're actually Nazis, bro.
Are they German?
There's a huge conspiracy theory that actually almost makes a little sense if you look it up. Just Google it sometime. Read Ace of Base Nazi connection, and there's a whole fucking thing about how a lot of people think that they're actually Nazis and their music is Nazi propaganda shit.
People also think the Earth is flat, Brian. So I mean,
I understand that, but read this.
Okay, I'll check it out.
It'll make you think. You're like,
I'll check it out.
I've never read any flat earther shit and thought you might have a point. I've never read anything like that, but I will tell you. If you read this Ace of Base stuff, it'll make you kind of question some shit. Like,
no, but they saw the sign.
They saw the sign, man. They saw the sign.
I still love it.
Yeah.
I do too.
Yeah. So
yeah, I do too.
We really wrap up this movie here. Like, so it ends up being Sam Parker, the gas guy, is holding a gun on Cecily and Finn. And then Finn shoots. Is it Finn? Someone shoots the fucking gas penis.
Joaquin, he's dying because Sam has shot him with a crossbow.
Yep.
And then Finn he gets up for like one last little heroic gesture, and I think he says something like "your pipeline sucks" or something like that, and then he shoots that fucking big dick.
Yeah, the gas,
the big flaming dick.
He says the line earlier in the movie that in his culture, the 7th child always gets killed because it's always werewolf. And she's you stopped doing that, right? Because that's fucking crazy. And she's the 7th.
He's from Argentina. Yeah, right?
Yeah.
He's from Argentina. Yeah, and so then Finn and Cecily are the survivors, and they go back into this bar, which, like, it must be shut down for the winter, and she has keys to it because she delivered packages, and they'd been like throwing, like, it's an axe throwing bar.
Yeah, it's called the Axe Den. It's kind of a dope bar.
Yeah. Oh, it's cool. It's got the Ace of Base whatever jukebox.
Yeah. It's all everything's 90s.
Yeah, it's very 90s.
He says everything's 90s in here.
Yeah. They
let's play something. He's like, all right.
She goes to look for food or something, and he goes.
She goes to look for first aid because he's
it's first
dying.
aid. Yeah.
Yeah, because he got stabbed by Sam pretty bad.
Yeah. And he goes in the office, and this is the other funny part. Like the other part, you're like, oh, come on, guys. Like, because Finn gets stabbed, and then like he's all of a sudden fine again towards this whole part.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, the adrenaline is strong with this man. I'll tell you that much, because he was literally he thought he was seconds from death. She leaves, and you're right. He does. He gets up and he walks into the office, and then after seeing everything, suddenly he's juiced with enough adrenaline to fight off a fucking werewolf.
Yeah. So he finds out like there's a bunch of shit like, and he sees the post office ID of the real postal worker, and a bunch of fucking like serial. It's like the whole stereotypical serial killer collects a bunch of articles about them killing everyone, and they're all like tagged with her. And he comes back out and he's like, hey, and then she transforms into a werewolf, and so she was a werewolf.
She does this weird thing.
Teen Wolf.
Yeah,
she does this weird thing with her toes. Did you see that? Like that shot. She's standing there barefoot, and she like a person would like run their fingers like that. Yeah, like what you guys can't see on the podcast, but Josh did it. And yeah, she does that with her fucking feet, bro.
Yeah, so like
that's impressive toe control. Yeah. See, you can't do it. All you're moving is your toe thumb.
It's like, it reminded me of Die Hard, where you go put your
scrunch.
after air. Yeah.
Make fists with your toes
in the carpet. And she's a werewolf, and it goes back to like he starts throwing axes at her, and none of them are any close at all.
I like when he hits the dartboard and goes, huh. Like,
Yeah.
oh, hey, I got one.
Yeah. And then Grizzly Adams shows up again.
Yeah, Flint. Yeah, Emerson Flint.
And he is the savior. He helps fight her off.
Sort of. Yeah.
What they had a very Halloween scene because he ends up like
Love it.
Yeah, Finn has been obsessed with snowshoes the entire movie, and they like there's a bunch of like shit on the walls, and there's snowshoes on the walls of this bar, and they get knocked off when she's attacking him, and he ends up stabbing her in the throat with the snowshoe, and so it's the running joke about Finn's obsessed with snowshoes, and he ends up using it, and him and Emerson are sitting there talking, and they do the Michael Myers thing where they're focused on these two, and you see her sit up in the background, and it's classic, but they do it as like
It's really good. I like the scene because she does. She gets up, she yanks the fucking snowshoe out of her neck because that's where he stabs her.
Yeah.
It's pretty good because
snowshoes.
she's super silently, she's super silently getting ready to fuck their shit up, but then the real hero shows up.
Yeah. And then,
Make your own fucking sandwich.
Yeah, Janine. Yeah, she shows up and puts the werewolf down finally.
they shoot
Make
her in
your
the
own
head.
sandwich.
Where does she shoot her?
It doesn't really show. I mean,
Yeah.
she's jumping at them, and then she just kind of gets shot out of the fucking sky.
It's for the
Yeah.
one-liner to end the movie, man. Like
Yeah.
it was an impact enough.
Make your own fucking sandwich.
Yeah. Yeah, because she's the one who makes everyone sandwiches and blah blah
Yeah.
blah. So yeah, the werewolf is like we can talk about it like it's very Teen Wolf, like Josh said. It's very
Super
like,
Teen Wolf.
yeah.
Mhm.
It's
I don't hate it though. I really don't. I like.
No, I know you-
enjoy it. Yeah.
For the comedy aspect of the movie, and that's why I was happy they didn't show it more, because it was played as almost a joke and not at the same time.
yeah.
I felt because
Well-
it looked not too scary, because she's like
I mean,
a hot. I'd let
yeah.
her fuck me up.
they literally had you convinced at this point when you go into the axe thing at the very end that like there wasn't a werewolf. That was just all these motherfuckers trying to like progress whatever agenda they had, right? And they did a really good job of making like the only thing that was like that had made me go, well, there's got to be something because of the dude getting his fingers bit off, right? Was the like the biggest like, well, what about this? Was the thing that they kept doing. So, but I think they did a really good job with this movie, and I'm curious about this game. And Brian, did you find scores about this?
Yeah, I
game,
did.
Dave?
I pulled up the game, and what we've got is it's a VR game. It's all VR, and it actually takes place in medieval times. And
Really?
basically, players are tasked to guess which of the townsfolk is a werewolf in disguise. It's like and they call it in a mafia style format.
Yeah, so that's I know that
yeah.
game. Yeah, so they wow, but how they just so that it's the whole conspiracy that one of them's a werewolf. So that was
you got to
okay.
find out which person.
Yeah.
And it's like a multiplayer game, and you've got to figure out which one of the townsfolk is a werewolf.
But now
So
we
they-
already know.
Yeah.
And now we know it was the medieval male person.
Yeah. Well, it's just funny because they just then it's not really based on the game. It's just based on the concept of the game, right? Like because you can't. It's there's like a lot of things. There's like Salem is another game like that, and
totally.
my friends and I used to play. There was a spy version of this that was futuristic, and like we just ended up yelling "You're a spy" at each other like for the whole time, or. Like even things like Among Us, right? Like you're like trying to figure out who's fucking with you, and it's the same kind of concept. But man, they did a good job, man. I thought this movie was fun.
Yeah, I think
was
this was
fun.
fun. Yeah,
Yeah,
this was a fun movie.
Yeah,
I enjoyed it.
It's funny because it's like I know Brian, you guys do a lot of the bigger movies, and it's kind of a cool thing to go dive into little things that you're just like,
Yeah.
oh, this is cool,
Yeah.
like because nobody's I'd heard people talk about this a little bit, but again,
It has a pretty
I'm
decently
really
big cast, I would think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and this has got thankfully it's got good scores too because this is rocking an 86 on Rotten Tomatoes right now. And
yeah.
And I mean, even the IMDb scores is relatively strong. It's a 6 out of 10 on IMDb. I really, really enjoyed this movie a lot, actually.
Yeah, yeah. It's a lot of fun, man. It's got that drama-y comedy thing where it's you're just mixing horror with things that work well with it, right? Which is always good. And like horror doesn't always have to be like front and center the whole time. It's very like thrillery kind of like also because you're like the whodunit aspect. So it's like
horror is very much just it's a side dish to this movie, honestly. Because this is real at its core. This is just a whodunit comedy, you know, and with a werewolf.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's like a punctuation of a werewolf at the very end.
Yeah,
but
Cecily
They wrapped it up nice in that other story trope.
Yeah,
so.
Cecily even says like after like when she's about to be a werewolf at the end, she's like, "Man, I was gonna kill all these motherfuckers, but they all just took each other out. I didn't even have to fucking do it." And she's like, "And now I have food for the rest of the winter." And it's like
she's like, I got food on ice till spring."
And you're like, "Oh man!" And it's that's what I like about the character too, because it's like she's not doing this because she's a little evil, but like she's doing this for fucking food, and she needs to eat. And she like, he goes, "Why don't you go try hunting?" And she's like, "That's like, have you tried hunting? Like, what is?"
Yeah, she's like, "Have you tried that?"
It's like too much work.
Try?
Yeah,
I like when it's revealed to him, and they're still talking, and he's like, "Oh man," she's like, "Yeah, it's all too good to be true." He's like, "But you were in a punk rock band." "Oh, that was actually true." "But you ate them?" "Yeah, I ate them."
Yeah,
we didn't know. She goes, "We didn't break up. You ate them?"
Oh, right.
Yeah, it's funny.
Oh man, she's badass, man. It's good to see. It's also like, I mean, you know, Brian. There's like, it's not as common to have female killers in horror movies. I mean, it happens, right? But like we talked about Dog Soldiers earlier. One of the hidden werewolves to that movie is the female werewolf. You think of things like Scream, or like not Scream, but like Scream 2 and 3, and or was 2 really, and 4.
2 and 4.
Yeah, where they have the female killers, but it doesn't always happen, man. And so it's not always like, think of High Tension. High Tension still
High
fucking
Tension's so good.
yeah.
I think I have to rewatch that because like that's on my list as the #1 movie that fucked me up the most watching it. Like,
High Tension.
I think I just have to rewatch it because maybe I was just, I don't know. I'm very more desensitized now, but still, I think back to that movie and like that one series of events that happens on the stair, the decapitation, and then into the closet. I was like, so fucked by that for some reason.
Yeah. No, it's but it's good to see this female, like the werewolf character, who does a good job, and this movie was pretty fucking dope. So, go watch it. It's worth it. It's another
100.
smaller yeah. So, well, Brian, you want to tell everybody? Thanks again, man. I was like, I thought having you on because after talking about the Howling, it'd be fun. And so just tell everybody. I mean, you're Dead in Santa Carla is the shit, and so if you don't listen to Dead in Santa Carla,
cool shirt by the way.
that Bryan designed.
Yeah.
So go listen to them, but you can tell everybody where you find your shit.
Well, you can find us on all your major podcast platforms. We drop, Andy and I sit down and we drop new episodes every Monday, and basically just it's a similar format to what you do. We just pick a movie, we talk about it, kind of do a breakdown, we rate it, do a little review, deep dives is what we kind of call them.
Yep.
And then Andy interrupts me for about 2 hours, but yeah, it's a good time. It's a good time. We have a blast doing it.
Andy's one of my favorite people, and you guys.
He's one of my favorite people on this planet.
I love that.
I wouldn't want to be interrupted by anybody else. I love that guy.
Yeah, so go listen to them. They were a big inspiration for me wanting to start Murder Moose. So we here we are.
Thanks,
so,
bud. Appreciate that, man.
Yeah.
Oh.
Aren't we all so sweet?
Now blowjobs for all. Oh.
BJ's and BJ's around.
So Josh, do we know what
Hi.
we're watching? Do we know what we're watching next week, or is that going to be off of the Twitter? Are we? letting your guest pick what we're gonna watch?
Huh?
Are we gonna let your guest pick what we watch next week?
Sure.
Okay, cool. Then we'll put on Twitter what we're gonna watch.
Sounds good.
Yep.
I'm excited.
Yeah, it's the Murder Moose way, man. We do. We often know. It's funny because we actually know, not next week, but the 2 weeks after, we know what we're gonna do. The guys from the couple from Apocalypse and Review, Tom and Michelle, are coming on. We're gonna talk about the host, Josh. We get to talk about the host, which is very nice. And then my friend Katie Peters Plays is going to come on, and we're going to talk about sky sharks. So Nazi sharks from the dark side of the moon or something.
Dude, there's like a whole playlist on Plex right now, like uploaded by Plex, that is just nothing but shark horror movies right now.
Yeah, it's Shark Week. It's Shark Week. Yeah.
It's fucking ridiculous, man.
Yeah, and it's
I'm going to have to bust out some depth and play some depth. Y'all ever played that game?
No. I have...
It's fucking great. It's sharks versus divers, y'all.
Dude,
it's so fun.
I need to go back to Maneater because I've played that game
fun too.
A couple times and never gotten too far in it. So yeah, so we'll tweet out after Josh's buddy's coming on next week, so we're gonna go talk about something with him. So we'll let you know on Twitter what we're gonna watch. So homework is later. I mean, it's very Murder Moose way.
The scariest film
ADHD.
of the past decade. Ah! Is it serious? I don't know. Have you seen Host? Anybody?
The Host.
Oh, the Host. Yeah, the Host.
The South Korean one.
Sea monster. Yeah.
Okay.
Josh, have you? Yes. You've seen that? That's the Jaws, South Korean Jaws movie.
I saw that.
So
in theaters,
good,
man. Yeah.
Yeah. It's dope, man. I mean, every single Korean movie Josh and I watched on this podcast, we fucking like couldn't shut up about. So we
were just like,
so yeah. Okay. Well, so yeah, so we have the Host coming up, and then we have Sky Sharks in 3 weeks. So but next week we'll let you know what we're gonna watch. So okay, Bryan, thanks again for being dope.
Thank you. Thank you. Love you guys.
And love you sexy fuck. And
fun times as always, man.
Yeah. And then Mooses, this is how the Mooses say we love you. Ooh, ooh.
I was feeling it.
Let's do Vicious Fun next week.
So you want to do Vicious Fun?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, cool. I didn't know if with your buddy if you want to like have him pick something or whatnot. But yeah, I'm good.
Okay, that will be a tentative unless he has something.
Okay, cool.
To pick. Okay.
Cool. Okay, everybody. Thanks for listening. We will catch everybody next week. Thanks again for being awesome. Bryan, go listen to Dead in Santa Carla, and we'll catch you guys later. Bye. Bye.